Pastor Thompson, we must now be looking at solutions.
So,
There's insecurity everywhere in the land. North, south, east, west.
yes. Okay,
In one form or the other.
Let's do something quickly. Let's look for what we call the lowest common factor behind all this insecurity. The truth is that the lowest common factor is the devaluation of human worth. You see, when life no longer has great value, it becomes cheap to operate all over the nation, whatever reasons you have, is the devaluation of human worth that is the root of all this. In a nation where the value of life is very high, you find out that if you kill one person or two, the reaction, what follows up is, in Nigeria, kill 1,000, kill 500, it's just conversation. Now let's first look at the headsman issue.
No, but I beg to butt in. But how did we get to this place where we have lost all humanity?
No, I'll get there. I'll get there. First of all, the headsman problem predates Nigeria. I want us to start applying some more wisdom and sense into this issue. In 1821, Ajayi Crowther was kidnapped by Fulanis. It was a headsman problem. It was not only Ajayi Crowther. 1821. Go through. So what you find out is that a problem that predates Nigeria, if we keep expecting that it's just only the government that's going to solve this, we're going to be waiting in vain. It predated Nigeria. Secondly, what you're seeing going on around the country is like a harvest. Remember that you may plant a seed and the harvest may take 20, 30 years. What Komo was saying earlier on, I really enjoy some of the references he made. Go into colonial documents. Go and find what they call the Mangin Papers. The Mangin Papers was the French colonial government telling the British colonial government in Nigeria and warning them about the escalation of hostilities of the headsmen and what we're calling Boko Haram today. Go and study the documents. You'll be wondering, why should Nigeria be surprised that this thing has finally found a head? Now, if Nigeria wants to solve these things, I've heard some of the solutions that my brother gave, and I think I agree with them. These are immediate solutions. But if we want to permanently delete all these problems, and we have looked at the fact that low value of human worth is the root of this, we need to do something right now quickly, having taken note of his immediate problems. We need to study what in mathematics they call chaos theory. Chaos theory is a branch of maths that studies dynamical systems with high sensitivity. Now, what does that mean? Normally, science studies things that are predictable, but there's a branch of science that studies chaos, disorder. Now, what looks like disorder on the surface always has within it certain fractals, has certain common things within it. Now, if we apply chaos theory into Nigeria, the study will be how you go from order to disorder. And you begin to look at what is at the root of all these things.
Common factors.
Yes. The nation would benefit greatly. Now, what am I talking about? We need to admit to ourselves that the foundation of Nigeria was laid on what we call failure engineering. If you go and listen to the comments in 1947 of Tafawa Balewa, of Afena Awolowo in 1948, Zik in 1963, and listen to all their comments, the conclusion they all agreed was that when Nigeria was created, it was created with certain problems in its core that were capable of exploding the country. And what they had said even from then was that if nobody takes care of these core problems, sooner or later there will be a terrible explosion. And what Zik said was that what happened in the DRC would be child's play compared to what would happen in Nigeria. Now, Nigerians need to understand something about foundation technology. A faulty foundation never autocorrects. It will not correct itself. Secondly, foundations are like, a faulty foundation is like a lie. After 1,000 years, a lie will remain a lie. Now, for anybody to build on failure engineering and think it will succeed, let me just give you one branch. We won't have time. Like I say, if we have a problem that has built up for more than how many decades? Almost 100 years plus. We want to solve it in 15 minutes. I don't think that country is serious. I'll give you just one little tidbit of why we must change our thinking completely if we want this country to work. What is failure engineering? Have you noticed the fact that most African countries, not only Nigeria, immediately after the independence, you would enjoy some self-rule, And then the next thing, there will be a military coup. Now, what is that? The colonial governments, prior to independence, would begin to train military personnel, knowing full well that the military training breaks down, you surrender your intellect, surrender yourself. In military training, you must learn what they call the chain of command. Now, once you become an officer, they take you out of the country, where you go and learn, for instance, the concept of coup plotting. Now, the people who are instructing you there know you will not stay back in Sandhurst or Mons to make a coup in the UK. And then they'll put you back home. In a short while, look at the history of Africa. It's a pattern. I'm talking about chaos theory right now.
Yeah.
So what am I saying? If you take an electrician in a building team and teach him to electrocute the architect, electrocute the builder, you can use that electrician to take over the building project. But let me tell you what I'm trying to point out to you right now. The British and colonials all over Africa used the military to slow down Africa's progress for more than 30 to 40 years because they were not trained to rule nations. Their peculiarity cannot bring a project and build. So if Nigeria really wants to move forward, we're going to have to come to a point where we sit down and rethink, face our foundation. Right now, the only thing I can add to what my brother has said is that you must add a narrative right now called non-violent communication and mandate it for all dealings in Nigeria.
Pastor Ladi Thompson, a security expert. Thank you very much for your insights this morning, as well as Dr. Ona Ekomo, who joined us via Skype. Thank you very much. There's never enough time to discuss these things, but that's the nature of television. Thank you very much for your insights.